This is a review of my Dyna Glo 10,500 BTU kerosene heater. Now, it looks like the bigger model of the 23,000, I think it's 23,800 BTU kerosene heaters. This is just a little guy. And there's the Dyna Glo WK11CB. This is the control panel. Holds 1 gallon of fuel. It'll burn up to 8 to 12 hours depending on where you set the flame. And that's the flame on low. I'm going to turn it up. It's not a big jump, but I guess it's harder to see on the camera, but this little guy really cranks out the heat. I normally set it on the floor, but for the video I set up on my coffee table. It's not too heavy, so it's easy to take down to the garage and top it off again. I use one of those long nose automotive funnels like you use to add fluids in your car. I hooked up a wire to it, so when it's time to top it off, I take it downstairs, and I'll show you the back side of it now. And there's the battery doors. It takes 2 C batteries for the igniter. And there's your gas gauge and filler cap. And it's only like a foot wide by a little over 2 feet tall. It's a lot lighter to carry up and down the stairs when I have to top it off. Anyways, what I do is I stick my long nose funnel in here, and it rides up along the side here, and then I take a wire to tie it off on the cage here to hold it up while I pour the fuel in. And I just keep an eye on the gas gauge there, so I stop in time and I don't make a mess. It actually works good enough that I would try it in the house, but if I had a little spill, then it would stink, and so I'd rather just carry it up and down the stairs. Anyways, I'm going to put this back down a little bit. There, that's a little better. One nice thing about these is when you got a chill and it's down on the floor, you can bend right over it and have that heat just envelop you. Oh, and it's comfortable. Does not stink at all. At all. No smell. The only time it smells when you first light it and when you shut it down, and it's only a couple of minutes. And it's not that bad of a stink. It's just not that bad. Anyways, love it. Works great. 10,500 BTU will heat an area of 500 square feet. I think it'll heat more. 500 square feet would be a room 10 feet wide by 50 feet long. Give you an idea. Will it heat your whole house? I doubt it. Although my bigger Dyna Glo kerosene heater, 23,500 BTU, or 800, one of those. I've had to heat my house up to a week years ago when we lost power, big ice storm. And it did it. And it was a good-sized house. 3-bedroom, you know. But yeah, it kept us comfortable. It didn't drive you out the window, out of the room like a wood stove would. But it was good, steady, even heating. And that one would run about 2 gallons every 12 hours or so of K1 kerosene. This one here will go, depending on if you run it high or low, 8 hours cranking it, up to 12 hours with it turned all the way up full blast. Some people complain about these things. I think a lot of it is just user error and not understanding how this thing works. It's a pretty simple machine, for lack of better words. It's not hard to look at. It's actually a nice looking little unit. I chose this over the square box ones that have the same BTU rating. Because this is convection heat. I prefer that over radiant heat. Radiant heat is like, it's reflected at you, where this heats the whole room like a regular heating system would. It heats the air heats all the objects in the room. I find that more comfortable. But that's all a preference thing, I guess. I've never had one of those square box heaters that you can lean up against the wall and have it reflect outward towards you. So I really can't talk on that, but I just prefer this style. It's totally silent. If your batteries go flat on the igniter, you can light it with a match, and that can be done right here. You just lift this little guy up like that. Oops, shouldn't do that. You just lift that up and use a wooden match or what have you. If you don't have anything like that, then roll a piece of paper like a straw and light that up and shove it in there, and that'll get her going. The trick with these is when you first get them, you fill the tank, let it sit for an hour, 2 hours. Let that wick soak. You have to let it soak. Burn it dry, completely dry once in a while. So you take it out, put it outside or in the garage, and let it burn completely dry. That'll clean your wick right up for you. Get all that black crusty stuff off. You take care of it, it will certainly take care of you. When you store it, I always start with a full tank for several reasons. One, partial tank will encourage condensation, which you don't want. If you get any water in your fuel, it'll really raise hell with it. And it's ready to go at a moment's notice. Full tank. You know, you come home, big storm, this and that, lights are out. Lights have been out for hours. The house is down to 40 degrees or whatever. You don't want to be dicking around fiddling with your backup emergency heater. You know, it's just not a good idea. Right now, today, it's at this time, it's 18 degrees outside, and a little bit of wind. And I fired this thing up just to give my regular house furnace a break. Got this morning, it was 13 degrees, and the heat just kept cranking and cranking. That didn't take a break. I said, okay, that's it. I buy my kerosene locally at a local hardware store for $2.99 a gallon, which is pretty good. It's the red kerosene. I have no problems with it. The clear kerosene is over $4 a gallon at the pump, when you can find it. So I'll just take, I've got 4 or 5 gallon kerosene cans, and when I empty 2 of them, I'll go down and spend $30 and top them off. Kerosene is great for storage. So that's it. Unlike storing gasoline, which can go sour in a month, 30 days or so, unless you put stabilizer in it. Kerosene can stay good for years, as long as it's in a proper container. Keep it out of the sun. Gasoline is much more fussy. It's explosive. This stuff here, you can drop lit matches into it, and the match will go out like you dropped in a glass of water. So kerosene is much safer fuel. Let me think. Anything else? Kerosene's the way to go. I mean, you can cook with it. You can light with it. You can get kerosene lamps. You can get kerosene stoves. If you're interested in the kerosene stove, check out the butterfly stoves. But it's a good-looking little unit. It doesn't take a lot of room. You give it about 2 feet of airspace all around and 3 feet above, and it won't hurt nothing. As you can see, it's on my coffee table, and there's probably another 4 or 5 feet above that yet. Like I said, I normally run it on the floor. I only did this for the video. And like I said, you got to chill. You just walk up to this thing, lean over it. Oh, and that heat just envelops you. And it's just, oh, it's nice heat. And it's moist heat. In case that matters to someone. But yeah, it's the Dyna Glo. Can I get it? Yeah, it's out of focus. Come on, focus. Yeah. Well, it's the WK11CB model. I got this on Amazon for $96 delivered. And this is December of 2016. I've seen them at Lowe's, exact same thing, for $135. I said, okay, Lowe's, I can wait a couple days and save $40, whatever it is, $35. So I got it on Amazon. I could have bought it locally, but I don't believe in ripping myself off. I mean, it was only $5 difference. Okay, fine, but not $40 difference. But this is just like its big brother, just a smaller version. If my power was down and everything else, I'd have the big brother up here cranking away, and that would easily heat my whole house. People think, oh, 10,000 BTUs, how can you going to heat your house? Well, it's 10,000 continuous. You may have an 80,000, 100,000 BTU furnace down in your basement. That only throttles on and off as the day on demand. This is throwing 10,500 BTUs 24/7 as long as it's lit. So think about it. Yeah, I could heat a small house that's, reasonably not too drafty with this little guy, but in the real emergency, oh, I'd bring the big brother out, because that one will definitely do it, and I've got experience with that. It's been great. Trouble-free. I've had the other one. It's not the true Dyna Glo brand. It's the same exact thing. I've had that one about 20 years, and saved our butts more than once over the years. Ice storms and that kind of thing. But yeah, worth every penny. And don't wait like most stupid people. Like what happens, the first big snowstorm of the year, everybody goes out and buys a snowblower. You don't wait for the tragedy, because when that happens, they're gone. You can't find one, and you're screwed. You buy this stuff when it's easy to get. Learn how to use it before you have to. And don't be like those fools that run to Home Depot and all that. I need a snowblower. Well, guess what? You and 5,000 other people have been here today, and they're all sold out, pal. So, same thing with these kind of things, emergency heat, snowblowers. You get monsoon rains, everybody's out looking for sump pumps. No, you have to have it on the shelf before it happens. That's just the way it is. But anyways, like I said, I prefer convection heat. That's why I got this. I could have gotten the square box models that are radiant heaters, but I don't know. I just want to heat the whole room. I don't want to have to aim it at certain things, and you know, I just don't prefer that. But yeah, go get yourself one of these guys. It was great out of the box. Took less than 2 minutes to put it together. All I had to do was put the handle on, and which is this here. Put that on, and the top cage here, 2 screws. That was about it. One other thing to avoid screwing up your wick and stuff, this button here is your emergency shutoff. And that's what it is, emergency. If something was to go haywire with the thing, which I've never experienced, but when you push that down, it slams it shut. This knob here is a crank kind of thing. And the problem with that, you get in the habit of just hitting this button and bam, it shuts down. There's little fingers on the wick, and that can shear them, which will change where the wick lands inside. It's like a tube kind of thing. And that'll screw up your wick. What you do is you press this button while you're holding this one. So you do this with your left hand while you're holding this with your right, and you just back it down gently, and it'll shut right down, no problem, without slamming all the gizmos inside here and breaking stuff. So words of the wise, you press this while you're holding this and just wind it down. It shall shut right down, no problem. This red button is your igniter. You push that down after you, oh, there it is. After you wind this all the way up, then you hit this and hang on to it till you see a flame start and let it go. And that's your igniter. And again, if your batteries go flat or your igniter goes bad or whatever, not a big deal. You just lift this little corkscrew spring thing here, get a match in there, she'll fire right up. That's it. That's my Dyna Glo. Love it. It's totally silent. Doesn't smell when it's running at all. You only get a little bit of smell when you first light it up, and when you shut it down. But that's it. All right, that's all. Thank you. This is a review of my Dyna Glo 10,500 BTU kerosene heater. Now, it looks like the bigger model of the 23,000. I think it's 23,800 BTU kerosene heaters. This is just a little guy. And there's the Dyna Glo WK11CB. This is the control panel. Holds 1 gallon of fuel. It'll burn up to 8 to 12 hours depending on where you set the flame. And that's the flame on low. I'm going to turn it up. It's not a big jump, but I guess it's harder to see on the camera, but this little guy really cranks out the heat. I normally set it on the floor, but for the video I set it up on my coffee table. It's not too heavy, so it's easy to take down to the garage and top it off again. I use one of those long nose automotive funnels like you use to add fluids in your car. I hooked up a wire to it, so when it's time to